taking a few minutes here, letting people hop on. All right, so I'm going to start this morning. Let's begin with just a little bit of centering and breathing. So we'll close the eyes. And begin to connect to our breath. We'll call in and on all of our guides and our ancestors, all of those who have our highest good and well-being at the forefront of their hearts and minds and intentions. We'll call in all of the directions. The direction of the east, the beginning of the journey into the medicine wheel, signifying the energy of potential, the new day, the rising of the sun. The hawk and the eagle, they live in the east. We'll welcome in the south, the height of vitality and energy, the apex of potential, connected to summer, whereas the east is connected to spring, south is connected to summer, the highest point of the sun in the sky. The fox lives in this location, so does the coyote. We'll welcome in and invite the energy of the west, the energy of fall, of managing and nurturing our resources and our energy, the energy of withdraw, the hermit, hibernation. In preparation for winter, the bear lives in this location on the medicine wheel. And we'll invite in the energy of the north. This is significant of, or connected to the energy of the winter season, a time of reflection and looking back, of working with the resources that you've developed throughout the rest of your year to maintain you. The energy of wisdom of age. So this is the latter part of our years, that season of our life. And the owl sits in this location, being able to draw from all of the wisdom that has been gained up to this point. And there's the above direction, our connection to the cosmos, the recognition of our part in the grander picture, our connection to the sun, the stars, the moon, our ancestors, those who have come before us, our ability to see beyond the immediate moment for that astral expanded perspective. Then the below direction, the connection with the earth and our home. Our lifeline of food, water, shelter, all that is needed in order for us to sustain our lives is provided by the earth and our relationship to it. This is a relationship that is really being brought to the forefront in our current climate. Seeing how the imbalance of our relationship to nature has created the need for nature to bring balance. And then the within direction, located in the center of the chest, the place for communion with body, mind, and spirit, location of the eternal flame, that which pervades behind all and within all. And gains us access to our blood, which holds the wisdom of all of those who have come before us. The wisdom, the knowledge, the gifts, talents, skills. And we'll also call in all of the elements: earth, air, water, fire, and ether. And I'm hearing to acknowledge the energy of the divinity in nature, sacred geometry. So I'm seeing and hearing about that right now. So I'm just taking a few moments right now to listen. What is showing up for us this morning? All right, so let's begin with some square breathing. So we'll take a deep inhalation into a long spine, roll the shoulders down the back of the body. Exhale completely. Inhale through both nostrils for a count of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold the breath for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Leave the breath out for 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale 6. Hold for 6. Exhale for 6. Leave the breath out for 6. Inhale 6. Hold the breath for 6. Leave the breath out for 6. Or release rather, and then leave the breath out for 6. Last round. Inhale 6. Hold for 6. Exhale 6. And leave the breath out. Let the breath return to its natural pace and rhythm. Good. So I've been kind of just listening to what wants to show up this morning. So I got a clear, sort of a clear indication. So I'm going to grab a couple of things here. Okay. So I'm hearing to share a little bit about the coyote. So I'm going to read from one of my favorite books that I read from all the time in these teachings, which is the Medicine Card book by Jamie Sams. I reference this constantly. Okay, let's see. Coyote. This is a good one. Okay, so the energy of the coyote. So, Coyote, the trickster. There are 1,000 myths and stories about Coyote, the great trickster. Many native cultures call Coyote the medicine dog. If you have called this in or are hearing the teachings of the coyote, you can be sure that some kind of medicine is on its way, and it may or not be to your liking. Whatever the medicine is, good or bad, you can be sure it will make you laugh, maybe even painfully. You can be sure that coyote will teach you a lesson about yourself. Coyote has many magical powers, but they do not always work in his favor. His own trickery fools him. He is the master trickster who tricks himself. No one is more astonished than Coyote at the outcome of his own tricks. He falls into his own trap, and yet he somehow manages to survive. He may be banged and bruised by the experience, but he soon goes on his way to even greater error, forgetting to learn from his mistakes. He may have lost the battle, but he is never beaten. Coyote is sacred. In the folly of his acts, we see our own foolishness. As Coyote moves from one disaster to the next, he refines the art of self-sabotage to sheer perfection. No one can blindly do themselves or others in with more grace and ease than this holy trickster. Coyote takes himself so seriously at times that he cannot see the obvious. For example, the steamroller that is about to run him over. That is why, when it hits him, he still cannot believe it. Was that really a steamroller? I better go look, he says, and he is run over once more. Contained within trickster medicine is the humor of the ages. The cosmic joke is not just on ourselves, but on everyone else, if they are following Coyote or have strong Coyote medicine. Someone like this may be able to convince others that a skunk smells like roses, but the fact remains that it is still a skunk. Snooze time is over if we have called in Coyote. Watch out. Our glass house may crash to the ground at any moment. All of our self-mirrors may shatter. The divine trickster is dogging you and you may trip. Coyote scratches under his arm. He does a crazy dance. He catches his tail on fire playing with matches. He jumps in the fish pond to save himself and nearly drowns. Coyote seduces a concrete statue. Coyote thinks he has found a bone, but it is a rattlesnake. Everyone watches the comedic scene. Coyote is you, me, booby traps, jet airplanes with toilets that don't work, blind dates, and all the humorous and whimsical things we encounter in life's way. Get ready for more of the laughs, lots more. Go immediately beneath the surface of our experience and ask ourselves, what are we really doing and why? Is Coyote our medicine? Are we playing jokes on ourselves? Are we trying to fool an adversary? Is someone tricking us? Do you want to give the office geek the phone number of the beautiful new secretary? Or do you want to pull a prank on your best friend? When was the last time you did something just because it was crazy and fun? On the other hand, you may not be conscious of your own pathway of foolishness. You may have conned yourself, your family, your friends, or even the public at large into believing that you know what you're doing. But listen, Coyote, you are balled up in your own machinations. You have created a befuddling, bewildering, confounding trick. Pick up the juggler eyes from the ground and put them back in their sockets. See through the genius of your acts of self-sabotage. Find it amusing and laugh. The trickster always laughs. If you can't laugh at yourself and your own crazy antics, you have lost the game. Coyote always comes calling when things get too serious. The medicine is in laughter and joking, so that new viewpoints may be assumed. If you have Coyote medicine, you may use it to make stuffy old fogies lighten up, to add cheer to a party, or to break a death grip conversation with ease. Look at the positive side of sabotaging nosy questions about your personal life. Have fun telling some gossiper that you have just returned from St. Tropez in your new Learjet. So, Coyote may be a signal of a time when everything you touch backfires. All your jokes may be exploding in your face. If it's showing up in this way, Coyote also signals a time to be aware of the intentions of others and to look for the boomerang you threw at another person coming back to knock you from behind. Someone else's trick may be on you. Or there could be deception in the wind. Whatever Coyote is conjuring up, it could be coming from any direction. Remember, this joker is always wild. So, I think that in a conversation I had with someone recently, we were talking about a book by Gay Hicks that I really love, called The Big Leap. And he talks about in that book that as we grow and evolve, there is our ability to be able to channel certain amounts of positive energy. And as we continue to grow and evolve, and as we develop our nervous system, we then are able to channel more positive energy. The interesting thing is that through patterns and programming and what we've been used to up to that point, we sometimes can hit a ceiling, and we may not even be fully conscious of that ceiling that we're hitting. But what happens is, subconsciously, our desire is to bring us back to a place that's more comfortable as far as the amount of energy that we're channeling. So we may have had something really big and beautiful and incredible happen, and so unconsciously, instead of continuing to allow that level of positive energy to flow, we might unconsciously adjust by, sometimes we might get sick or have like an accident of some kind, or pick a squabble or something of that nature to bring that level of energy back into a place that we're more comfortable with, something that we're more familiar with. Good morning, Brooke. I'm talking this morning about Coyote medicine. And anyways, so this is called, in his book, Gay Hicks, in the book, The Big Leap, it's called The Upper Limit Issue. And so for whatever the reason, talking about coyote medicine, this sort of trickster medicine, this tendency that some of us can have on occasion to self-sabotage, can be influenced by this upper limit. That, like, as we're developing along our path and we're growing and we're learning and we're developing the ability to channel more and more positive energy, our subconscious desire to go back to somewhere that feels more comfortable and safe and familiar is where some of that sort of self-sabotage or self-trickery can come in. And as long as we're willing to laugh, and so I think about a teacher that I've worked with in the past, Christy Marie Sheldon. I love her because one of the things that's really significant in her teachings is that she always laughs. She's always like, she has this very lighthearted, bubbly sort of giggle that she brings into all of her everything that she shares with people in her teachings and everything. And it reminds me to laugh because I have a tendency to get way, way, way too serious. Like, that's one of my biggest challenges, is I get very heavy and like serious and intense and focused, and everything is like a big deal, And so when we can laugh at ourselves, when we can see the humor in the universe and in our life and in the way that things will help us to sort of shake out of that place of wanting to get back to something that's comfortable. And Lord knows that coyote medicine is anything but comfortable, right? But sometimes our subconscious, that's what it is. We're unconscious of those patterns and things like that. So the more we can sort of just take a step back and take a breath, and that's why I love that square breathing technique. I've also recently been practicing another technique that is recommended to me by a teacher that I'm working with, Sean Black, that I really have been enjoying his teachings. But he recommends Wim Hof breathing. So if you have a chance to check that out, I've been doing that recently, and it is very effective. It's intense and really good, and is reminiscent to me of shamanic breath work that I've done in the past, that really amplifies our ability to travel into our subconscious and travel into different realms to receive really important information. And sometimes when we're in that place, and I think, to be quite honest with you, this is very timely information for me, because I think that I've been engaging a little bit recently in this sort of self-sabotage and old patterns of thinking, and so it's very helpful to sort of shake that loose and have a fresh perspective. I wanted to also reference Heyokah medicine, which is also the Joker medicine. So I'm gonna so this teaching is also from a Jamie Sam's book, the Sacred Medicine Cards. Sacred Path Cards. I don't know if you can read that, but I love her stuff. I work with it all the time. 179. All right, let's see. Okay, so the primary lesson of Heyokah and Heyokah is sort of like, it's the contrary clown who holds total wisdom and teaches the people through laughter and opposites. The sacred trickster is the one who makes you wonder if what they are saying or doing is actually correct, thereby making you think and figure it out for yourself. When people are made to think on their own, the wobbly beliefs that have been a rubber crutch for them in the past are tested. If the rubber crutch gives way and they end up on the ground on their rump, a lesson was learned. If they stop and think, test out a teaching for themselves, and it stands in a good stead, the wobbly belief becomes a knowing system for their lives. The divine trickster is called Heyokah by the Plains tribes, also by the Hopi and the Pueblo Indians. Many tribes have trickster teachers who dressed in costume for ceremony and wear regular clothing in daily life. Their jokes do not stop just because it is not a feast day. All Heyokahs operate through opposites. The Heyokah's purported wisdom imparted to a seeker could be the exact opposite of the answer the person would find for the self. The laughter surrounding the results could be the lesson for the entire community. The Heyokah is known for creating lessons at the expense of another's seriousness. Laughter is the ultimate lesson and breaks the bonds that destroy the balance in people. If Heyokah is successful, all is taken in good fun, and the bonds of old habits no longer are helpful or broken. The medicine ally of the Heyokah is Coyote. The Heyokah is a master at Coyote medicine and can use the joking part of Coyote's nature to trick others into enlightened states of understanding. Occasionally, the Coyote medicine will backfire and zap the Heyokah in a blind spot. If this happens, the true Heyokah will take it in stride and laugh at the backfire, learning from the lesson along the way. Let's see. The primary lesson of the Heyokah tricks us into revelations rather than giving us all the answers. Heyokah is needed when we refuse to allow ourselves alternatives. The view will always expand if we use the divine medicine of laughter. Nothing is beyond repair. We may need to use comedy to crack a smile that we can reclaim our sacred space. Heyokah medicine can be called upon through Coyote. Remember that the divine trickster is the perfect integration of all things wise and foolish, sacred and irreverent. When we ask for these lessons, we need to be prepared for the adventure. We need to be willing to laugh and to have others laugh with us. We will have achieved the ultimate union of opposites when we learn to celebrate more than we mourn. The time has come to laugh and reclaim our divine right to find pleasure in the sacredness of being human. Thank you, Brooke. I hope you have an amazing day. Yeah, remembering to laugh. This is, I often tell people that doing these sessions, these inner guide teachings and meditations, as much as they're an offering to all of you, it's an opportunity for me to remember and to be reminded by what's coming through intuitively. So in any case, let's see, what time is it? Yeah, it's 9. So I just wanted to share that with you. So if you're feeling called to have a sense of humor about anything that might be going on in your life, don't forget about, the teachings that come from those challenges and those sort of bloopers of life. It's very sacred and important medicine. And so anyways, just something to think about. So thank you all so much. Thank you, Brooke, for your comment. I hope you have an amazing day. It's my honor and pleasure to connect with you all this morning. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a good Memorial Day. And I'll see you all next week.